Your discipline builds your future. Welcome to Clartify.
Most people believe they lost motivation. They say it quietly, almost apologetically. I'm just not motivated anymore, as if motivation was something you once had and somehow misplaced. But motivation didn't disappear. It was never meant to stay. And that misunderstanding is one of the most expensive lies people live under. Because once you believe motivation is the engine, you build your entire life around waiting. Waiting to feel ready. Waiting to feel inspired. Waiting to feel strong again. Waiting to feel like yourself. And while you wait, life keeps moving forward without you. Nothing dramatic happens. Nothing collapses. Nothing explodes. You just pause. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Months become years. And you slowly normalize a life that feels quieter, smaller, less demanding. Not because you chose it, but because you stopped moving. This is why motivation feels powerful at the beginning and useless later. Motivation loves beginnings. It hates continuation. It shows up when things are new, when the idea is clean, when the future is open, when there is no resistance yet. Motivation is attracted to novelty, not responsibility. That's why people are motivated to start gyms, but not to train consistently. Motivated to start projects, but not to maintain them. Motivated to change, but not to repeat the boring parts that real change requires. And nobody tells you this. So when motivation fades, as it always does, people assume something is wrong with them. They think they're broken, burned out, different now, less capable, less hungry, less driven, but nothing broke. You simply reach the point where motivation stops working. And that point comes for everyone. Motivation is not a cause, it's a reaction. It's feedback your brain gives you after it sees evidence of movement. Action comes first. Discomfort comes next. Identity shifts slowly. And motivation appears as a side effect. But if you reverse that order, you get stuck forever. Because motivation does not lead. It responds. And when there is no movement, there is nothing for motivation to respond to. This is the part most people never hear. Motivation feeds on proof. Proof that you act even when it's uncomfortable. Proof that you don't need permission. Proof that you move without applause. Without proof, motivation starves. And when motivation starves, people assume it died. In reality, they stopped feeding it. This is why waiting for motivation is so dangerous. Waiting trains your nervous system one simple rule. No motivation = no action. And rules compound. Over time, your brain stops sending action signals because it learned they won't be used. So motivation becomes quieter, weaker, rare. Not because you failed, but because you trained it out of your system. This is why discipline is misunderstood. Discipline is not forcing yourself. It's not intensity. It's not aggression. Discipline is acting without emotional permission. It's acting when motivation is absent. Not fixing it, not fighting it, not waiting for it. Just moving anyway. This is uncomfortable for most people because it removes the excuse. If motivation is not required, then delay becomes a choice. And choice brings responsibility. That's why people cling to motivation. It gives them a reason to wait without guilt. I'm not motivated sounds better than I'm avoiding discomfort, but your life doesn't respond to language. It responds to patterns. And the pattern of waiting always produces the same outcome. Stagnation disguised as patience. This is why productivity culture fails people. It focuses on mood, energy, mindset, hacks, optimization. But none of that matters without motion. Motion is the only honest input. Everything else is decoration. You don't need to feel confident. You don't need to feel inspired. You don't need to feel ready. Those feelings come after, not before. And this is where people panic. Because if motivation isn't leading, then what is? Structure, environment, constraints, systems that move you forward regardless of how you feel that day. This is why successful people look boring. They don't rely on feelings. They rely on commitments, deadlines, routines, external pressure, irreversible decisions. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what happens if I don't? That question bypasses motivation entirely. Motivation is emotional. Consequences are real, and real things move behavior. This is why fear often motivates more than inspiration. Not because fear is good, but because it creates urgency. Urgency creates motion. Motion creates identity. Identity creates motivation. But by the time motivation appears, the work is already happening. That's why motivated people look motivated. You're seeing the result, not the cause. This misunderstanding creates envy. People look at disciplined individuals and think, they're just more motivated. No, they're more committed. Motivation came later. If you keep waiting for motivation to come back, you will stay stuck. Because waiting reinforces the identity of waiting. And identity compounds silently. Nothing collapses. Life just stabilizes at a lower level. You adjust. You normalize less ambition, less pressure, less movement. You call it realism, balance, being mature. But most of the time, it's resignation wearing a calm face. The truth is simpler. Motivation never comes back because it was never meant to stay. It was a temporary spark, a bonus, a reward for starting, not a tool for continuing. Once you understand this, you stop chasing motivation, and you start building systems that work without it. You remove the question. You remove the negotiation. You remove the drama. You act because action is scheduled, not because you feel like it. At first, this feels cold, but it creates freedom, because your life no longer depends on how you feel when you wake up. It depends on what you built. This is maturity, not emotional maturity, structural maturity. When your environment carries you forward instead of your feelings, motivation will still appear sometimes, but you won't need it. And ironically, that's when it comes back. Not as a leader, but as confirmation. A quiet signal that you're already moving. And movement is the only thing that ever mattered. If you're waiting for motivation, stop. Build motion first. Motivation will follow, or it won't. Either way, your life moves forward. And that's the point. Most people...
Thank you for watching. If you're ready to upgrade your mind and build unshakable discipline, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. More powerful lessons are coming. Stay disciplined. Stay clarify.